Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new here, I'm the unknown source. And today, we're diving into something really cool, a little bit nerdy, and honestly kind of inspiring. This is the story of how I gave my 2015 MacBook Air a second life by installing macOS Ventura, a version Apple says this Mac can't run. But guess what? It can. And I did. Now, this isn't just a quick tech tutorial. This is going to be a full deep dive into why I wanted to upgrade in the first place, what problems I ran into, how I used a tool called OpenCore Legacy Patcher, and what the experience has been like since making the jump to Ventura. So whether you're looking to upgrade your own Mac, or just curious how far you can push older hardware, buckle in. Let's get into it. Let me take you back a bit. My 2015 MacBook Air has been with me for years. It's been a travel buddy, a workhorse, and it's honestly held up better than I've ever expected. But like all good tech stories, things started to slow down. I was stuck on macOS Big Sur, S-U-R. That was the last officially supported version for this model. But Apple has moved on. Ventura brought a ton of useful updates, better security, faster Safari, improved system apps, and compatibility with new software. But I couldn't upgrade. Apple had basically said, "Sorry, your Mac is too old. Time to buy a new one." Now look, I get it. Apple can't support every device forever. But here's the thing, this Mac still works. The hardware's fine, the SSD is fast enough, and I wasn't ready to toss it in a drawer just because the company said so. So I started looking for workarounds, and that's when I discovered or rediscovered OpenCore Legacy Patcher. OpenCore Legacy Patcher, or OCLP, is a piece of software built by the Mac modding community. It allows unsupported Macs to boot and run newer versions of macOS, versions that Apple says shouldn't be possible. Now, before you panic, this isn't some sketchy hack. It's OpenCore. OpenCore is a bootloader, the same kind of tool Apple uses internally. It's safe, it's open source, and there's a thriving community keeping it updated. The patcher part of OCLP is what makes everything work. It applies just the right tweaks to get macOS Ventura or even Sonoma and Sequoia to run on older machines. And when I saw how many people were successfully using it on 2014 and 2015 Macs, I thought, okay, let's go. Before I jumped in, I did some prep work. If you're thinking of doing this yourself, don't skip this phase. It makes the process smoother and reduces the risk of losing anything important. Here's what I gathered. A 16 gigabyte USB flash drive, minimum. A full backup of my Mac using Time Machine, the latest version of macOS Ventura, downloaded from Apple, and of course, the most recent OCLP release from their GitHub page. I also took the time to read through OCLP's documentation and compatibility list, which is excellent, by the way. They tell you exactly what to expect for your specific Mac model, which features will work, which won't, and whether your GPU is supported. For the 2015 Mac Air, the good news is the Broadwell processor is well supported. The bad news, no metal GPU support, which means no hardware accelerated graphics. That's something I'll talk more about later. Once I had all the pieces in place, it was time to make the bootable installer. First, I used OpenCore Legacy Patcher to create the USB installer. It wraps Ventura with the custom bootloader your Mac needs to start up. That process took maybe 30 to 40 minutes, depending on your USB speed. After that, I shut down the Mac, plugged in the USB, and restarted while holding the Option key from the boot picker. I selected the EFI boot icon, which is where OpenCore loads from. Then I selected the Install macOS Ventura option. And just like that, the standard macOS installer launched. Familiar, clean, and honestly kind of surreal to see on this older Mac. The installation itself took about 45 minutes to an hour. There were a few reboots along the way, but everything ran smoothly. After the final reboot, I was greeted by the Ventura setup screen. No errors, no glitches, it just worked. But I wasn't done yet. Once Ventura was installed, I went back and ran OpenCore Legacy Patcher again. This time from the inside macOS to apply post-install patches. These are essential. Without them, your Mac might not have working Wi-Fi, sound, or proper graphics support. OCLP applies all the necessary fixes to get your hardware talking correctly with macOS. So, what was it like using Ventura on a Mac from 2015? Honestly, really solid. Startup startup time is decent. Not blazing fast, not painfully slow. Web browsing is smooth, even with multiple tabs open in Safari or Chrome. Productivity apps like Notes, Mail, Calendar, and Pages work just fine. Even Zoom and Spotify run great with only a little extra CPU usage. Now, let's talk about the downsides. Without Metal GPU support, some UI animations are a bit choppy. You'll notice it when mission control stutters or when resizing windows isn't buttery smooth. Also, a few features just aren't available. Sidecar, nope. AirPlay to Mac, nope. Some continuity features, spotty. But overall, it's 90% of the Ventura experience on a machine that was declared obsolete by Apple. One of the biggest concerns I had was, is it stable? Will I break something every time I reboot? I've been running Ventura for a few weeks now. It's been rock solid, no crashes, no kernel panics, no boot loops. Also, OCLP supports OTA updates, meaning I can apply future Ventura patches directly through system settings just like a regular Mac. If something breaks, I just rerun the patcher easy. I do recommend disabling SIP, System Integrity Protection, and enabling AMFI workaround if you're using certain tools or apps. But that's all covered in OCLP's documentation. So, should you do this? If you have a Mac that's stuck on Big Sur or Catalina and the hardware still works and you're comfortable following some instructions, absolutely. It's not for everyone. This is for people who want to get more life out of their tech. People who understand the trade offs and aren't afraid of a little experimentation. And honestly, it felt good. Good to take control of my own device. Good to say, you know what? I'll decide when this machine is obsolete, not Apple. If you've made if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope this gave you insight, encouragement, and maybe even some inspiration. If you're planning to try this yourself, leave a comment below and let me know how it goes. And if you get stuck, the OCLP Discord and GitHub pages are full of incredibly helpful people. Don't forget to like the video if you found it helpful and consider subscribing for more deep dive tech content and cybersecurity information, from Mac mods to system tweaks and everything in between. Alright, so here I'm installing OpenCore Legacy Patcher also known as OCLP. This tool is the key to getting macOS Ventura or any newer macOS running on unsupported Macs like mine. It's completely free, open source, and has been developed by an amazing community of Mac enthusiasts. You can grab the latest version directly from the official GitHub page. Just make sure you download the version that matches your macOS version or the one you plan to install. In my case, that's Ventura, and I'm upgrading to Ventura from a Big Sur version. Once the download finishes, you just open the app and you'll be greeted with this simple terminal style interface, which I have not yet gotten to that point yet, but I'll be making another video going deep into details and exactly how this whole process is done. It might look intimidating at first, but don't worry, it's surprisingly user-friendly. From here, I'm going to build and install the OpenCore bootloader to my USB drive. This is what will allow my Mac to boot into the Ventura installer, bypassing Apple's restrictions. But in this case, I'm not going to use the USB. I'm just going to install it directly from the website. As you can see, I'm installing it now. Now, depending on your Mac, you may get different prompts or compatibility messages. The tool actually detects your model and gives you the best configuration automatically, which is super helpful. And that's pretty much it. OCLP does all the heavy lifting in the background. Once the bootloader is built and written to the USB, you'll be ready to restart the Mac, boot from the USB or your computer and start installing macOS Ventura. It's honestly kind of wild how powerful and easy this tool makes the entire process. A few years ago, patching a Mac like this would have required hours of command line tweaking. Now, it's almost plug and play. Okay, so I'm installing OpenCore Legacy Patcher. But here's the thing, I didn't use a USB drive at all. A lot of tutorials out there show you how to create a bootable USB installer, and that's a totally valid method. But in my case, I found out that I could install everything directly on my Mac without needing any external drive. I simply went to the official website open.core.com, downloaded the latest version of OpenCore Legacy Patcher, opened the app and followed the steps from there. It's really straightforward and it's honestly kind of wild how easy the process has become. Once the app launches, it gives you the simple terminal style interface. Don't be intimidated. This part is way more user-friendly than it looks. It automatically detects your Mac model, applies the right settings, and walks you through everything step by step. From there, I just followed the prompts to build and install OpenCore onto my internal drive. No USB needed, no external devices, just straight from the app, and it handled the rest. This is really important things to know if you're thinking about doing this yourself. You don't always need a USB drive to get macOS Ventura or any other software up and running on an older Mac. As long as you're careful and follow the instructions, this direct install method works just fine. So yeah, if you're watching this and you're worried about needing extra hardware or drives, don't stress. I didn't use one either, and I was still able to patch my Mac and get Ventura installed with no issues. And again, huge props to the OpenCore team. The fact that we can do this, install modern macOS versions on unsupported Macs with just a download and a few clicks is seriously impressive. So here's where things took a bit of a turn. Originally, as you can see here, I actually started downloading and installing the macOS 15.7. At the time, I thought, hey, this is the newest version, right? Might as well go all the way. But as I was waiting, I started doing some quick research, reading user forums, watching a few tech videos, and I quickly realized something important. macOS 15.7 isn't actually the best choice for this Mac. First off, macOS 15.7, while technically installable using OpenCore, isn't fully supported on older hardware like my 2015 MacBook Air. It's part of a Sequoia, the latest macOS version still in beta or just barely released, and it comes with some real drawbacks. It's heavier, more demanding on older CPUs and GPUs. Some essential features and drivers don't work without serious patching. And it just hasn't had enough time in the wild to be considered stable, especially on unsupported Macs. So while it seemed like a good idea at first, the more I read, the clearer it became. macOS Ventura 13 was actually the smarter, more stable option for my setup. It has much better support on older Intel Macs like this one. OpenCore Legacy Patcher has been optimized for Ventura for over a year now. It runs smoother, has fewer compatibility issues, and just overall gives a better experience on unsupported Macs. So yeah, right around this part of the video, I actually canceled the 15.7 install and immediately switched gears. I went back, prepped the Ventura 13 installer, and started that installation instead, and honestly, I'm so glad I did. If you're watching this and you're considering upgrading your own Mac with OCLP, I highly recommend double checking compatibility first. Don't just go for the highest number, go for the best match for your hardware. And in most cases, for Intel Macs like mine, Ventura is the sweet spot. And that's why for the rest of this video, you'll see me walking through the install and setup of macOS Ventura 13. Well, I wasn't able to fully install it because it's taking about like 4 to 5 hours. But I'm just gonna let it install. Once it installs, I'll show you guys on another video exactly how it gets installed onto the system and what updates you need to do in order to get it up and running. This is the unknown source, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay creative, and keep your tech alive.